Hey everybody, welcome to tkanddrinks. We got TK Talks, TK Talking with TK. What's the story? I'm still trying to figure out what the name of this stupid show is going to be. But as my second interview in our interview series, meeting up with Mr. Brian, I believe it's pronounced Galbreath.
Close enough. I'll take it.
Galbreath?
It works.
There you go. Appreciate that. Always make a fool of myself no matter what I do. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this interview with me. Brian is the owner, operator, proprietor, master craftsman, delivery guy, everything, one-man operation up there at Unpossible Mead in Dwight, Illinois. And he makes some great meads. I had a chance to have a couple of them. My favorite one from him so far is the Love Apple. It's a green tomato and lemon mead, and that is phenomenal. I love it. It's not what you would expect from it, or not what I was expecting. I went in expecting it to be terrible, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was sweet and tangy and just a delectable delight. So thank you, Brian, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So anybody who doesn't follow Brian on social media is doing themselves a disservice. Unpossible has some great stuff, but lately you've been working with a state senator trying to get some laws changed there in Illinois. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm working on changing the Illinois Liquor Control Act. Right now, it doesn't provide for, in the language, for a meadery to sell mead to a brewery. It doesn't say it specifically, but it doesn't say you can't either. And I mean,
now for those of us who are kind of unkeen to the world of meaderies and breweries, why would you want to sell your stuff to a brewery? That be so they could have it on tap at their brewery, or would that to be do like collaborations?
Collabs aren't really the problem. It's just being a guest tap. So you get the person in the party that doesn't want to drink beer or has a gluten issue. So about 3 years ago, maybe 4 now, they changed the Liquor Control Act to where cideries could sell to a brewery, but it had to be through a distributor.
Gotcha.
And that way they could be a guest tap. And I was in the middle of doing the build out and building Unpossible when I found out that was going on, because I had no idea what was going on in the craft beer scene. Oh, that's not true. I had a little bit of an idea what was going on just from the brewery friends that I had, but I had no idea on the legislative side what was going on. When that passed, I was like, hey, what about meaderies? So that's something that I worked on last year. Just the way COVID's gone, it got pushed to the current General Assembly. It passed 17-0 out of committee, and now it's on to the full Senate for a vote. And then, provided it passes through that, it'll go through the House and needs to get passed there. And then the governor will sign it. And then, as soon as the governor signs it, the next day I can start running kegs out to the breweries that would like to have a keg of mead on tap.
That's awesome, man. That's quite the venture to undertake there. Is there a rule against like not like tap houses and bars and stuff like that having kegs, but it was specifically against specifically ambiguous language for breweries to hold a guest keg of mead?
Correct. So there's no language that provides for that.
Yeah, I hate ambiguous language in the legislative world, man. It seems like they do that on purpose so they can use it to their advantage when they need to and use it to their disadvantage when they need to.
I mean, this is almost an 80-year-old document that gets tweaked once in a while when certain parties agree to things that need to get fixed or like to get fixed.
Right.
With COVID, I mean, COVID's kind of shined a light on some things that are holdovers from post-prohibition.
Like blue laws and stuff, basically?
Illinois blue laws aren't, I mean, I can't think of it at the top of my head, but I know there are blue laws in other states, but yeah. Illinois laws aren't totally restrictive as some of our neighboring states, as I understand.
It's just all these states have these laws that hold back commerce, which is, and small business, which is a real detriment to their economy, ultimately.
Right, I agree. But nobody would have figured 80 years ago we'd have the internet, or be carrying how many devices actually could fit in this now in your pocket. I mean, the supercomputer, the camcorder. I mean, I still say, hey, let's tape that, even though we're doing it on the DVR.
Force of habit, man.
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, in 80 years, documents kind of needed to get tweaked and
I'd say, and hey,
for a business to grow.
And I think there's going to be a ton of people in the state that are going to benefit from that. everybody that's up in the Chicago area, everybody, I mean, throughout the whole state's is gonna benefit from the hard work that you're putting in. Is that
And then there's going to be the meaderies that are adjacent to Illinois and the other two I states that I know self-distro. So they're definitely going to take advantage of that. So you guys are welcome too.
did you approach any of these other meaderies or any breweries to try to get anybody on board to even feel out whether they felt the same way you did, or if there was anybody who was in your same boat, so to speak?
I talked to one other meadery, but they already had a distributor, so it kind of didn't really sway
Matter.
them away. I mean, my meadery is 80 miles southwest Chicago. I'm exactly halfway between Chicago and Bloomington, Illinois, and I am out in the sticks. So I did that willingly. Hindsight's 2020. The town I lived in wasn't really on board at the time of me doing a small production meadery. So the town I was working out of, Holland Steel, driving a semi, was like, "Hey, come here." And it's one of those small town things where if you're not from there, you're never from there. So
Gotcha.
I knew opening up, I was gonna have to go to distro right away. So was doing kegs, doing bottles. This gives one more avenue for me to let people know about my brand, try my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm as active as I can be in the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild. The wine side, I'm not as active because mead seems like it's a weird thing over there, but it's still an agricultural wine. I will eventually go back over, and I'll have a foot in both camps. It's just they do good stuff. It's just they have their agenda, and this was kind of my agenda to help expand my brand and allow me to be open a few more days a week because I'm only open Friday and Saturday.
Gotcha.
Basically, mid-March through December. Winter, I kind of scale it back.
Yeah.
Just because alcohol tends to slow down after your wallet gets hurt at Christmas. And
yeah, not here in Arizona.
I mean, it's the cold, so people
Sure.
kind of slow down on alcohol during the winter. It's just how it is.
Oh yeah, it's just the different dynamics of the areas that we live in. I'm sure there's all sorts of other things that are in that same boat too. So all the business stuff aside, let's get into some little more lighthearted and stuff.
Sure.
And so before we started recording here, we were talking a little bit about good meads and bad meads that people have made and haven't made. And you had mentioned that you've made some meads that you don't care for so much that you sell. What would be one of like the meads that you sell or have sold in the past that's not your favorite? They say you drink it to make sure that the flavor profile is right, but then after that you're like, I'm not buying any bottles of these.
It's a good question. Like my current toffee mead, it tastes good. I know it tastes good. It's just it was a weird one to make. It was the ferment got stuck. It was supposed to be ready right before Thanksgiving, and it took some coaxing to get finished fermenting. And the honey itself tastes like butterscotch. So I had every intention of this being a butterscotch mead, had the label get through as a butterscotch mead, and then got the flavor dialed in on it post ferment, and it tasted more like toffee. I mean, there's still butterscotch notes. But growing up, I was always wanting the peppermints out of my mom's purse, and my brother would get the little yellow little butterscotch ones, and I hated those. And it's like, oh, this isn't caramel. So I only did 250 bottles. I did a bunch of kegs, and those may end up being put back into bottles. I'm not sure yet, but it moved really well, and it's not my favorite.
Now that's one of the things that always interests me is some of the meaderies that I talk to interact with, like the volume of kegs versus bottling that they do. Would you say that you keg most of your stuff, more of your stuff than you bottle, or would you say that it's about 50-50, or what's going on there?
Before COVID, I would say it was probably 50-50, or maybe 60 keg, 40 bottle. And COVID to now, it's been like almost 100% bottles. And with the toffee one, I was going back into doing kegs. I have a couple accounts that I know the quality's there, that these 4 accounts get a quarter barrel of that product right off the top. I've told them that. I'm like, hey, I'm just letting you know, here are the flavors I'm doing. I'm setting kegs aside. You let me know when you're ready, and I'll bring them out to you.
Nice.
They're high volume accounts, and they'll fly through them.
Oh, that's rad, man. It's cool that you have accounts that are set up. I mean, even prior to helping this bill get passed, that you have or that are willing to take a ton of mead kegs. Because I don't see here in Phoenix, I don't see a ton of tap rooms carrying mini kegs from any of the local meaderies. I mean, Superstition is pretty much, they're, I would say, in the top five as far as volume and size, top five meaderies in the country. And they do have some kegs at some of the tap houses and stuff. But I don't see any of our other smaller local meters, which, again, always was something that intrigued me. The dynamic between bottles selling better in one place versus another place. That's
I set my brew house up a little bit bigger than a lot of guys do. I've seen some other setups that are smaller. So my goal was to do more of the sessionable stuff starting out, and they ended up being still just because ran out of money during startup, and just had to get open, start selling stuff. So I was selling crown cap bottles that people are like, "Are these flat?" I was like, "No, they're just not carbonated. So they're good. They're not flat." And it was okay, but it was a bottle that people are like, "How much for a 6-pack of these?" And I was like, well, let me tell you how much a bottle goes for first before we have the 6-pack conversation. It was a short, stubby bottle. It was a half liter. It looks like the Coors Light or the Coors original bottle, just
Yeah.
taller. A lot of kombucha goes in those. I really like them. They're a thin glass, so when they hit the floor, it's game over. So that's a very thin glass. Um, yeah. So just with the bottles and the kegs, I've gone to. I'm kind of wandering here in my thoughts too because I'm staring at all the bottles at the end of the bar. Making round it was actually round 3 of the tomato mead. Started that today actually, so my brain's kind of.
Yes.
But
Is that the same? You sticking with that same recipe from batch 1 through batch 3 now?
batch 1 actually got dumped. It turned out to be pretty gross. It was like a 30-gallon batch. The bottle you got was actually batch 2.
Okay.
So batch 1 never saw the light of day.
Oh. Well, I'm definitely glad that I released it on the first released batch for commercial consumption anyway.
Yeah, I don't. If something doesn't taste right, I don't let it go out the door. And I've had a couple of bottles come back, and I've only had to do one small recall. So, um,
Have you ever had a mead that you've been making and that you had totally planned for release in some capacity, and when it got out of secondary or post fermentation, whatever they're calling it these days, you ended up tasting it, it's like, this just isn't ready, and you set it aside, and then months down the road you found a use for it, brought it back to life in a different way.
uh, with batch 1 of Basswood, I made a lot of it, and um, it was good. I liked it. I did a few different splits off of it. I took the kegs, I had emptied them. I hopped one version of it.
Ooh.
Another one, I did the first iteration of lip gloss and gunpowder. That was a hibiscus and pink peppercorn one. Trying to think
Yes,
what else.
I had one of those. That was delicious. I like that one a lot. That was a cool bottle too.
That bottle, that's the only time I'm going to use that bottle because people walk up to me, or not to me, but they'll look at it and they'll be like, tink, 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 because it's got the black plastic cap on it. And actually, I have it right here.
Yeah, when I picked one up for you, I was totally surprised. Even the glass, like when the mead's not in it, it has this like kind of purplish sheen to it.
Huh. Just might be, it's German glass, so who knows?
Oh,
Could just be that.
oh, it's a European bottle.
But yeah, so people would do this, and Dad told me right there, because I bought the caps for it, aluminum, but I needed like a $7,000 machine to put those on, so I
Whoa.
immediately bought plastic. I was like, okay, called the manufacturer, the bottle plant in Canada, and I was like, I actually need the caps, and the caps are made in the States, which just kind of blows my mind. So they go from the company, the headquarters for that company is in Arkansas, and I don't know if they make them there or wherever they make them, but I'm sure they're made stateside, and then they go to Canada, and they come back here, and it's just
So you're paying like double tariffs on these freaking
well, we had
caps.
NAFTA at the time, so I don't think,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, but still, just the amount of
Principle of it all,
it's like I could have just had those come straight to me if I'd known where they were coming from.
right? 700 miles down the road, so to speak.
It'd been a lot easier, a lot cheaper on the shipping, but whatever.
Yeah.
But that bottle's a one-off. Um, I've got 2 layers left on a pallet, and I just use those for growler fills to go when I'm doing growler or howler fills. I use a growler loosely in here. It's just people bring in they bring something in and it's clean, I'll fill it. As long as we agree on the price when they're the really large 64-ounce containers. So, but I've got my growler label, slap it on so that way it's legal and they go out the door. And
That's awesome. We got a 7-Eleven freaking convenience stores that do that once a year. They have a whatever you want to bring in, and we'll put a Slurpee in it day.
That's awesome.
Watch a kid walk out of there with a freaking crock pot full of Slurpee. I was like, dude, your mom's going to be so pissed when she sees that.
She'll be mad that you used it, but she'll probably have some with you.
Oh, hell yeah.
You drink anything right now while we're talking, or?
I was going to say, I just saw you pick up a glass there, and I had a sip of something earlier. Oh, you're drinking some of your Love Apple. Right on. Now, is this a remaining bottle from batch 2, or is this like a...
This is batch 2, the one that you got. I actually had to run to a liquor store 20 miles away to go get it because I don't have any, and nobody nearby has it.
I always love seeing those posts from meaderies. Hey, I just ran into this at one of my liquor stores. We don't have this and haven't had it forever, but there's a few bottles left here if you want to get some.
Yep.
Tonight I picked up a mead mail from Brimminghorn up in Delaware there. It's called The Legend of Norsini. It is a black raspberry, blackberry, red grape, and I believe it has rosemary in it as well, and like juniper.
Yeah, John makes some really good stuff up there at Brimminghorn.
Yeah, this stuff is absolutely wonderful. It's so just thick and dark, and I'm highly impressed, man.
I like your fancy glass. I'm using my cheap plastic, my COVID plastic glasses.
My Darth Maul glass.
Oh, very nice. Mine's my 7-ounce hefty or whatever the hell it is.
Are those like your sample glasses for the meadery?
These are the drinking glasses. The sample glasses are
I gotcha.
the cups, and
And
I have a lot of the plastic. It's just leftovers from, or not used, not a leftover, not used from Dwight Harvest Days, which happens in September. So it's just easier to jump down into plastic and not have to worry about washing glasses because we'll have upwards of 500, close to 1,000 people that'll probably come through here in 3 or 4 days. So,
dang, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Last year, so they've been working with different carnivals and also different setups. So the first year I opened, I was in the middle of all the food vendors, and then last year I was in the middle of all the kid rides. So that was kind of a kneecap, so to speak. And
no kidding.
There's no input, no asking, and there's no asking a vendor to move a kid ride. So, and
right.
I kind of look like a bar in the middle of a kid's carnival. So.
See, now out here in Arizona, that would be the place to be. You'd want to be there. You'd have a line a mile long.
Yeah, well, this is the Midwest, and it's a
little more conservative. I mean, we're pretty conservative here too, but apparently people just like their beer a little more, or mead.
This is definitely a Busch Light town, so.
Ooh.
Yeah, or at least a light beer town.
Yeah, you're in Anheuser-Busch country, though.
I mean, well, hell, we're halfway between Milwaukee and St. Louis, closer to St. Louis, but.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding. That's right in the heart of the mix of it there. So do you have a favorite of your meads that you make? Like, what's one that you can't wait to start making again so you can have a couple bottles on deck?
I want to make Terrific again, but I'm going to change the name because I've been told by many accounts it's a stupid name. It was
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It was the first fruited mead I came out with. It was it was a avocado blossom base. I'm trying to think what the second honey was. I think it was just avocado. Yeah, it was avocado blossom honey, and then I had Montmorency cherries from Michigan, and I was heavy on the cherry, and people loved it. But it was one of my first I've only had 2 re-fermentations, and that was the very first one. And I guess from talking with some other people, stone fruits like to re-ferment on you. So, and I seem to do cherry really well. At least personally, I think I do because Cherry Bomber, I overmade that one last year, and I'm on my last few cases of bottles. I want to make that one again. That one seems to be an every other year one, only because I used buckwheat honey and honeydew honey. So.
Ooh. I've never had a honeydew honey before, and I hear avocado blossom honey is absolutely wonderful.
It's very tasty. So the cherry ones, I can't wait to do that again. I have a lemon blueberry one that a lot of the farmers that have come in, they're like, when are you making that one again? When are you making that one again? I'm going to be making that one again here shortly, so they'll be excited for it.
Is that one a session mead?
Yeah. I'm pushing the alcohol down. I'm gonna start going under 7% and making it more sessionable, and also it cuts how much I have to pay the state of Illinois in taxes for when I make stuff for excise. So
There you go.
instead of paying them $1.39, I'll pay them 23.1 cents on the gallon.
Man, that's some intense prices on taxes there, brother.
Yep, and a lot of my first meads were sitting right at 7, and I was just like, well, if I'd known better, I'd have pushed them down a little.
Just a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's scandalous, man. That's the one thing it always intrigues me about here in other states, liquor laws and everything like that. There's such a wide breadth of what's cool and what's not cool and what's expensive and not expensive.
Right.
Uh,
But yeah, the lemon blueberry I'm gonna make. The Forager series I'm gonna be making again. There'll be lower alcohol, and I'll actually put bubbles in it this time. So be doing more sessionable stuff.
Very cool, man. Session meads are definitely growing on me. I'm not a huge carbonation fan. I don't drink a lot of soda. I'm not big on just carbonation in general. But I have to say that some of these session meads are really growing on me. The more I have what I would consider quality ones. You know, I've had definitely a few that kind of tasted like not great, what I would consider not great, but ultimately I definitely ran across some that I have make me want to go back for more. So I would love to try your cherry bomber, man. That one is one I definitely want to pick up as well.
Maybe I'll send you something here soon.
Hey, I'll never turn that down. So I don't know if you do a lot of hiking or a lot of traveling, like, you know, up in the like personal traveling and stuff like that. But like if you're going out on like a hot day, say with a hike with the family, and you and your wife are going to bring a bottle of mead with you, what would you be the one you'd bring? Not necessarily yours. If it's one of yours, that's cool too. But like any bottle of mead, like flavor profile, whatever you're thinking.
If it's a hot day, I make a honeydew melon one called the Dude. That would be.
Oh, that sounds great.
I need them. That's on my soon to get made list too. Like my list is so long. I was telling you earlier that I just got out of the semi last week. I really should have got out like 3 weeks ago. Just getting going on production again. Just kind of held back over the winter because I didn't know what COVID was going to be doing and what the world looked like, and the world's starting to open back up. So trying not to be behind the 8 ball going into the summer, not having stuff made. So a honeydew melon one would be one that I would go for.
That sounds great. I've never had a honeydew mead, but I would love to try a honeydew blossom honey like you had talked about earlier, and then even with honeydew flavor, you know, fruit actually in it, all that jazz. That sounds absolutely wonderful.
But as for somebody else's mead, a hot day, I like some of the stuff that I've gotten recently from Charm City.
Charm City, they're out of Boston, I believe.
Baltimore, actually.
Oh, Baltimore, okay.
So they had, this is bad because I had this like a month ago. Sorry, James, my brain's not working today. What was it? I'm totally blanking.
Was it a session mead? Was it a still?
They were carbonated ones. Like almost all of them were carbonated. One had like pink molasses in it. Was it pink molasses? No.
Pink molasses?
Pink molasses. I can't remember. I'm really sorry, James. I'm sorry to bring you up and get it all wrong. I hate people that do that shit. Sorry.
We can edit around all that. Don't worry about that.
I'm having around effing brain fart. Like, and they were good. I'm not saying, I just don't remember what the hell they were called or what they were, because there were so many complex flavors in there. They're like flavors layered on top of each other that they were. At first, I was like, well, what is this? And then I was like, I want another. And I got a 4-pack out of it. So by the time I got to the 4th one, I was like, son of a bitch, I want more of this.
So I should have bought 2 of these.
Mm-hmm. So, James, sorry, my brain's not working. Check out Charm City. They make really good stuff. My brain today.
Are they on Vino Shipper?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. I'll putting them on my list right now, as a matter of fact. Write that down. Charm City.
Charm City Mead Works.
That is, yes. I definitely like to check out the places that come recommended by other mead makers, because I like to. It's like when you hear your favorite band's favorite band. You know, it's like when your favorite mead maker's favorite mead makers. Like, oh, that means I definitely gotta go try these out, because there's always something going on with them.
For sure. Other mead makers, Honey Pot. I do like a lot of what Alex is doing.
So I haven't had their stuff yet.
Trying to think of the one in Ohio. I haven't had them in a long time, and I can't find them locally as much. Crafted, I want to say, is the name.
Sounds
They make,
about right.
they make some really nice stuff. Like when I get my second COVID shot, and if my lovely wife and 2-year-old will let me take a short road trip, I want to go through Ohio, shoot up towards New York, and then back down to Virginia, and just hit like a handful of meaderies, a couple breweries, and get my ass back here and run my business like I should be doing. So,
Yeah, my wife and I are planning this summer after we all have our shots and everything like that. Come like July, we'll try to get up to Washington and Oregon and check out some of the meaderies. Go visit Opagard, get down to Portland, check out Weird, and try to visit as many different places up there. I'm from the Seattle area, so I get to go home, visit, and do a mead road trip.
And meet him in person because me and John have traded some meads, and he's got some good stuff.
Yeah, I like his favorite one my favorite one of his that he's done is one called Gorsum. I can never pronounce it. They're all like these crazy Norwegian names and stuff like that, but it was a blueberry French toast flavor and profile, and my goodness, I mean, blueberry, the maple, the powdered sugar. I mean, it felt like I needed to like wipe my mustache off because I had powdered sugar on it and everything. It was wonderful.
Nice. Yeah, he's on my list to visit. I have a buddy that's in the Navy. When he gets back from his 6-month tour or whatever he's doing, I want to visit him and his wife and the kids because I haven't seen them in about 2 years. So it'll be nice to visit them. So
Are they stationed up in Washington?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's out. I can't say where he's at or what he's doing, but he's out floating and he flies planes. So that's about all I can really say.
Hey, being from there, I know what you're talking about, all the different bases and the things they got going on there. I used to live in a tiny little town called Paulsbo, which was right next to this naval base, Bangor, which is where they stored the nuclear submarines that held the warhead missiles. So just growing up there, you knew, hey, you know, Russia, China, Pakistan, all these people that got nukes, yeah, they're targeted right at you guys, just for the record.
Yeah.
They make no bones about it up there. It's just how it is.
I mean, I grew up near the I-55 and Interstate 80. We had the Arsenal out here for the longest time, and they closed in the 70s, but we were it was probably on a checklist of places to hit back then.
Yeah, you're definitely in the top 5, top 10 places to hit. We need to go right there.
And the fact that there's 3 or 4 nuclear power plants in Illinois, so.
See, yeah, we have one here in Arizona. I had one up in Washington, but yeah, 3 or 4 within that range. That's crazy to me.
Where I live, there's 2 within less than 10 miles of my house.
Do you guys get to choose through your energy provider if you want to be on nuclear, or if can you specifically specify?
You can change your generation, but so once upon a time, like ComEd ran everything, and then they split, and then they're ComEd and Exelon. So the Exelon's the generation, ComEd's the wires, if you will. Mm-hmm. So the local townships can basically aggregate the whole town and move the whole town into one provider if they can have a better rate than Commonwealth Edison. And for the meadery, same for the town, for Dwight. I did live in Coal City. Same damn company. Dwight had the better rate.
That's crazy.
How the hell did Podunk town get a better rate than, the town I'm living in? And I got told they aggregated with they got lumped in with the suburbs, and the suburbs got a higher rate. So,
man, power companies just do whatever they want to do, seems.
To answer your question, yes, we can choose our providers. Just when you poke around online, you see, there's this monthly fee. Not doing that. Your rate variable. It's like, nope, I kind of like it to be flat and expect not having a super high power bill when I open it every month.
Yeah, see, and I think that'd be something that would be cool if they could do that more. The only reason I ask is because I recently was talking with a guy, Dan Schruffler, up at Space Time Mead and Cider Works, and through however they have it set up there in Pennsylvania, however, he can choose where he wants to get his energy from. So I don't know if he has to pay a fee or any of that, but he chooses to get all his energy from wind energy. And I just thought it was a cool notion to be able to go on. I was just wondering if other meaderies were given that same option to be able to purchase their different types of energy.
I guess I can. I mean, being the main source around here is nuclear, and
yeah,
it's carbon free, if you will. So
yeah,
at the generation, and there's there's a lot of jobs in the area that have come off of working for the power plant. So I try to support local as much as I can, but
Definitely.
I know a brewery, and I'm not gonna say who they are, but I went through their, and it's a bigger regional-ish one, and you look at their, hey, here's how we're green, and just like everything down to the ridiculous. It's like our forks are green, our paper plates are green, we do all this green. It's like, okay, dude, I got it. You're green. You're overselling it.
Right.
Like there's being green. Like for me, when I'm done with the fruit, I have a neighbor behind me and over a little bit, and they have a compost bin. They're like, bring us all your stuff. We'll compost it for you.
Oh, your must just goes back over there and right into the.
It goes right in your thing, and they just say, hey, don't leave us a bunch of cherry pits, or don't leave us stuff that's going to take off and be gross. And
Yeah.
so they're going to get the 80 plus gallons of tomato pulp when I'm done with batch 3.
Dude, I think that's awesome. That's community supporting community in whatever capacity works best for you. That's, man, you can't ask for anything better than that. That's the whole thing.
Right, and I love it because I can throw all that slop in buckets, run over to their house in a fork truck down the alley, and start slopping it in. And
it saves you disposal fees too. I can only imagine what it costs to get rid of 80 pounds of frickin' tomato waste. Or 80 gallons.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go talk to a farmer and see if I can't just go sling it out in their field, because I'd rather not throw it in a dumpster and have it turn into a bigger nasty mess.
I was say, could you compost it?
I could, but I
mean, now you don't want. You're not in the composting business. You're in the mead business.
I got the neighbor to do that for me, so
there you go.
I'd rather they do it for me than me figure it out, because there's only so much space, and I'd be composting right next to the beer garden, and I really don't want people smelling rotting and decaying.
Exactly. Yeah, not necessarily the best selling point there.
No.
So given that those your toffee one was maybe not your favorite one to drink on, your other ones were your favorite ones. What if you were see how do I put this? If money weren't an issue and access to supplies weren't an issue, like if you had unlimited resources, what would be the type of mead you'd like to make?
I'd like to ship almost everything to meadow foam, because that stuff's delicious.
Does it go with every flavor profile? I mean, is it going to work with like a savory flavor profile mead?
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, depends on what you're shooting for, savory. So
that's true.
I guess more of my fruited ones would go that direction.
Mm-hmm. But like one specific flavor profile, man. I've been dying to work with this fruit because it's so expensive and I can't. And yeah, the meadow foam honey I've heard is expensive and kind of hard to get and stuff like that.
I don't know if I've got one I want to put in my club. It's jelly melon or kiwano or horn melon. It's got a bunch of different names. It's one I want to play with. It's not terribly expensive, but I tried to grow last year, and the vines are so fickle that the wind can just snap them. So I plan on going up to one of the produce markets in Chicago and to see if I can't get it up there. It's a weird look. It's yellow. It's got a yellow skin. It looks like it has horns. You cut it open, and it looks like kind of like a lime. Or, I mean, if you Google it, not that you have to right now, but whoever's watching, open another tab and pop into it real quick. You'll see it and you know what I'm talking about. But it's a weird looking little fruit, and it's something I like to play with. They say the flavor somewhere like a lime banana, if you will.
That sounds absolutely wonderful.
So I want to play with that, but if we go back to time and money or no big deal, I'd do a huge barrel program. I'll put it that way. It would just, because that's a lot of money to park and do the aging. Because I forget who I talked to. They were talking about starting up a meadery, and they're like, everything's going to be barrel aged. I was like, you got a good amount of money to start up with? And they're like, why are you asking? It's like, because you're going to be parking money for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. How long are you going to age these for? Oh, I go, look at it like an interest rate. How long do you want that money sitting there doing nothing for you and costing you if you don't have anything else going on?
Yeah, that's a fantastic way of putting it. I mean, you can't just go straight into the barrel age game. You're going to tie up all your money and not have anything to sell.
Yep. And I opened that person's eyes, and they're like, maybe we don't want to do this. And I hope I did you a favor. Yeah,
no kidding. I hope you saved them just a ton of time and energy, because that sounds like a terrible thing.
And I talked to a guy out of opening a distillery this weekend, not on purpose, but just because I'm looking at maybe getting into the distilling game and doing like a boutique bourbon, but do it like as a contract, kind of like a contract brew.
Okay.
I don't feel like putting in all the equipment and the risk. So just
Sure.
do it through somebody else and see how it turns out. And if it turns out great, because I've got a local farmer who's got 900 acres. He's like, tell me what you want to grow and we'll grow it.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. Is it like he wants to take a cut of it, obviously, or something like that, or he's just trying to use his land?
Uses land. Our family has acreage downstate. Got 3 farms. They're not huge. I mean, they're like 40 or 80 acres apiece. Nothing big, but the thought is maybe do that down the road. Have somebody farm those for us, then harvest it, drag it back up this way because it's a 3-hour drive away, or for almost one. And if you got somebody local who can grow it for you, you're looking at saving on transportation cost and fuel and whatnot. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah, just that guy I was talking to this last weekend, he was running numbers, and I told him like, well, if you're wanting this and you're starting to go towards retirement, figure you may want to do 6 or 8 times that because you're gonna need employees and stuff's got to sit. And then it was just I basically talked the guy out of it, and I think he was glad for it because it was something. It was an itch he wanted to scratch, and I think I helped him unscratch it.
Man, yeah, I can only imagine how high into the 6 figures it takes to get started with a meadery or a brewery or a distillery in this case. I mean, because you got all the equipment you got to invest in, and even if you can find like used equipment, I'm sure that doesn't make it necessarily any cheaper. I mean, I'm sure it's somewhat cheaper, but there's a bunch of people probably clamoring for the secondhand market on that stuff, so that's automatically driving up demand. And then you need location, and you got TTB plus state regulations and county regulations. It sounds like I mean, $500,000 quarter. If you go into this, in my opinion, to start a meadery, brewery, or something with less than a quarter to a $500,000 price tag in your mind, you're going into it not with an unrealistic view of reality.
I wouldn't disagree, and it's all about location too. Like I'm 80 miles outside of Chicago. I bought my building, and then the money pit started when I was trying to upgrade and rehab and start from scratch. There's a shell of the building. The guy that sold me the building gifted me a bunch of problems that I missed or didn't catch on the walkthrough.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm sure the building inspector didn't do you any favors there either.
uh, probably not. I mean, getting up on the roof, wish I had because I need a new roof. I would have immediately ripped $15,000 off the list price because it's about what it's going to cost me is a 15 grand just to redo the roof.
Man, that is, yeah. So if somebody was in that instance, what would you say it would be better to do? Try to find property and build from new and spend your money that way, or to just do a little better, to do as best job as you can in your research and investment into a currently existing property?
Depends how you come at this. Like I didn't have a lot of money coming at this. I just had enough money to put a down payment on the building and get going. And I took out a line of credit from the bank, and like I did this all from debt, which isn't necessarily the best idea to do, but I own my business and I own it, and the bank kind of owns it too until they don't. And if there's somebody out there that has, they've got a hole in their pocket and they can invest in someone, they want to do that. This isn't me soliciting.
Sure.
But it's how you come at it. You can come at it as a group, an individual, or have the bank help you, or there's I'm meandering. Basically, I looked at moving this last 6 months, and I had a spot picked out. I wanted to move, and the dirt I wanted, I got basically told I couldn't have because of not necessarily setback rules, but how much parking lot there was, and you have to have so much room for a rain runoff for the water to go. So the spot I was looking at would have taken that away from the property. The owners were fine with it, and they approached the village and said, hey, this guy wants to buy this. Can we do it? And it's like, sure. But in the last 15 years, the building codes have changed too. So the style of building I wanted was not going to fly. So you got to know your local building codes. Sometimes it's cheaper just to buy a building, but you got to know what's going on in the building. And I don't have a huge background in the trades, but I have enough buddies. I've soldered enough. I've done a little bit of electrical work, not as much as I've done for plumbing and whatnot, but I know enough to be dangerous and get stuff done.
Gotcha.
But I still had friends help me build out the bar, do the walls, build the bathrooms. What I couldn't do, I hired out through local contractors. But
I see a lot of I see a lot of meaderies that seem to be undergoing either renovation, relocation, or upgrades in some capacity during the COVID thing. And a lot of people seem to be doing it themselves, which I think is a testament to supporting local, have friends and people who are in those construction related industries helping help them help themselves, so to speak. So I think that's a very cool thing to do.
Right.
And plus, you don't got a ton of money to go out and spend and hire a bunch of contractors to do all this stuff.
Right. But yeah, to circle back around, it's how much money do you have of your own? How much are you going to get from the bank or an investor? It's how you look at it. What's your building going to cost? Do you want to own your building? Do you want to rent it? I mean, I own my building. If I wanted to pick up and move tomorrow, it ain't happening easily.
Right.
If I wanted to, it'd probably take me 6 months to pull out of here.
Dude,
I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but it circles back around to the village. I'm not from here, so it's noticeable on the weekends. So that's why distribution's kind of my wheelhouse, and that's why I push for being able to sell to breweries too, to have another avenue of revenue to bring into the business.
Just more things that people need to think about if you're looking into setting up shop, to think about where you're going to set up shop if that's the route you want to go, because I think there's all little nuanced things like that people don't necessarily think about.
And then know your self-distro rules for your state, if you can even do it. If you have to have a distributor, you got to know what the game is like with distributors in the state of Illinois. It is easier to divorce your spouse than it is to divorce a distributor.
Holy cow, that's crazy. Here in Arizona, I mean, I'm as a distributor here in Arizona, that sounds crazy, because I'm working with all my contracts or all my connections on a zero contract thing. It's just I show up, they want to buy some, we have our interactions and our invoices and turn all our paperwork into the state, and that's it. If we don't ever want to do business again, we never have to.
Right. I just recently found out of a distributor in the Chicagoland area, and I think it's called Do Right, and I'm not plugging them. I'm self-distro for everything, so I'm not plugging them, but they're kind of the same model. It's, hey, you want to drop us or we want to drop you? Can you have a handshake and see you later? Which I was looking at the guy's stories, like I think he worked, and just don't quote me on this. This is just memory of reading something the other day.
Sure.
He's worked in different sides of the business, and he's like, this is all crap, and I want to just be able to do right. And this is me paraphrasing, probably just do right by the customer and the other business and myself. So for him,
that's the way I'm operating my business. I've been approached by a lot of people whose stuff I have chose not to carry, or at least not to carry at this point, because I'm not at a capacity to carry a lot of different brands right now.
Sure.
And it just seems that there's not a lot of people out there that want to operate in that old-fashioned honesty realm, what's best for the consumer type of thing. A lot of people, it's about how can I get my money, and if I end up causing a toxic relationship because of the business deal, then so be it. There's other fish in the sea. There's other, whatever the colloquialism you want to use is. Mm-hmm. But I that's how I'm approaching it. I want to work with people who put passion and care into their products, and same thing with the retail agents and the people on my end. I don't want somebody who's just going to look on Untapped solely for all their stuff. I don't want somebody who's not going to put any time and energy into understanding that brands are more than just, hearsay.
Right. And yeah, with Untapped, I watch bars whip out Untapped real quick and starts flying through what you've done in the past and seeing what your rating is. I mean, it's an instant scorecard as judging a book by a cover, and then they can sit there and, I mean, you get some of the worst people on Untapped, and you get some of the best people on Untapped too. It's like anything in life.
Right.
But some people use it as a scorecard just for themselves, but it still goes in the overall aggregate against the business. So if someone's like, oh, this is a melon mead, you get a 1 star because I don't like melons. It's like, your hair is blonde that day, and I just don't like you because you have blonde hair.
Yeah, and I know a ton of people that are in that same boat that use Untapped for that exact thing. It's like, oh yeah, I just use it for myself. I don't really pay attention, or I use it as a log just to remember what beers I had and what I thought they were, not even considering the fact that it's going into the aggregated system and compiling these scores. And a lot of people don't know, consumers anyway, that don't know or don't care that Untapped, if correct me if I'm wrong, is still owned by Budweiser. So there's a lot of I'm gonna say backdoor dealings, but there's a lot of nuanced stuff that goes on with that. If you don't want to play their game, they're not gonna let you play their game, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, so I can't say anything either way.
Yeah, and again, that's just something I've heard from a lot of different people that are more knowledgeable about the situation than I am, but I don't know any of that personally, so that's just the way I understand it currently. But
I know
regardless,
that told me that, like, if you want to have a bad day, go on Untapped and start reading your reviews.
100%. I agree with that 100%. I mean, because I've had some wonderful meads that are rated in the just absolutely terribly on there, and then I've had some meads that I thought were just kind of so that were in the 4.3 plus category. It's
all subjective. That's
exactly.
It's all subjective.
Yep, fantastic way to put it. It's all subjective.
And I'm not gonna get butthurt over it. I mean, I'll be going in to add a new flavor, and I really like when my regulars go in and do it for me, because then I don't have to read it, but I still got to put the icon and the other shit in there that needs to be in there. So
right, I gotcha.
That's how I feel.
I hear you on that one. So go back to this. If money and time and all these things weren't an issue, is there a what meadery would you visit here in America, or if there's somebody abroad that you've been working with or dying to try? If you could go anywhere and try any mead maker's mead, where would you go and check out their meadery and their whole spiel?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it goes back to that road trip. I don't know if we were talking about it earlier or not. I don't know if we talked about it. There's just I like to go through Ohio, up through New York, and then come down through Virginia. I may have said this earlier.
But you just check out everything in the Northeast right now. There's really what you're
just kind of check out the Northeast. There's more meaderies come on all the time, so it's hard to be like, oh, I'm gonna go check out these guys, and I haven't heard. First time heard about like Space Time, I thought it was an awesome name, and started looking at their labels. I was like, damn it, that's really clever, and I really like it.
Yeah, Dan's got a very unique vibe over there at Space Time. I love everything's got like almost a like a wine feel to it. It almost feels like he's coming from like a vineyard type of background, but his labels are all super cool and unique. He has a label contest every year that he does, lets people draw a label for one of his flavors. He lets home brewers come in and have a competition to see which flavor profile, have everybody submit a flavor profile and brew it. And then he collabed with the winner of that competition and made a commercial brew out of it. All sorts of cool stuff.
That's neat. Those are things I'd like to do. I just need more foot traffic coming in here to be able to do that. So, and that's one of those things I'm working on, is the marketing. I mean, only open 2 days a week and push everything out to distro almost as fast as I make it. So,
well, that's one of your thoughts with getting out of the truck and being able to get back into the meadery full time is being able to do those types of things and interact more with the community. And
right. And that's a huge part. I mean, it's warming up. People are coming out. People are getting stir crazy.
You guys have a farmer's market there that you sell with or that you could work with?
I'm working on that. There's one, the one in Dwight's kind of small, but there's one in Morris, which doesn't mean much for people out in Arizona, but there's a monthly one 20 miles away that I called and we're playing phone tag. But the big thing is being that my business isn't located in that town, figuring out, can I get a one-day license? Can I sell? Do I have to get a one-day license with the state? There's a lot of one-day things you got to do. And they do it like the first Saturday, I guess the first or third Saturday of the month from like May till October. So that's a lot of one-day licenses I got to go get.
No kidding. That's so interesting to me that like it's just another dichotomy between the different areas. We have a farmer's market down the road. I mean, they run twice a week year round, but we also don't get the, crippling blizzards and winter weather that you guys do there either.
That builds character.
That's what I say, man. I go to a farmer's market in 6 inches of snow or 6 feet of snow. What the hell are you doing out there?
Right. I'm the idiot that'll grill in a blizzard. At least at my old house I could. The new house, I can't. The wind comes around the corner so fast. It's amazing how fast I can get the grill going with the new house, just the wind we have where we're at.
And being from Washington, we used to grill in the rain all the time. And it's just, you just deal with the weather that you get.
But yeah, circling back, I've been to a small handful of meaderies. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head at the moment that'd be like, you know what, I want to go work with them because they're doing things great.
Now, if memory serves, you did, I believe I heard in an interview that you've done with somebody else, that you had went out to, was it Golden Coast or Lost Cause?
So back in 2016, I went out there to learn. So I basically shadowed them or
was that Golden Coast or Lost Cause?
Now Golden Coast.
Yeah.
Right before my son was born, I did a little road trip. I flew down to San Diego. No, first I flew into San Francisco, went up to Russian River, then flew down to San Diego, and then worked my way back up. And that was when Honey Pot was opening that weekend. So just go to visit Billy and Susanna and go visit some guys that have worked at Golden Coast and just check out some other meaderies I haven't seen. That Southern California mead scenes, they're doing some stuff right. And there's a lot of, I mean, I think outside Chicago, they have the highest per capita area for breweries. So
yeah, they have that whole SoCal area from San Diego all the way up through northern LA area and even farther up is just littered with, I mean, quality breweries and meaderies out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if I could do a collab, I mean, there's a few people I'd like to. Like maybe me and Alex were talking doing one out at a Honey Pot next time I'm out that way.
That'd be rad.
Chris Rhodes, he owns Hidden Hive. When I think he's working at a winery right now, and I can't swear to it, so I don't want to say, but
oh yeah, no.
I think he's still making mead, or not that he hasn't stopped. I think he's also working at a winery too. So he's another one. So there's a lot of offers on the table. I just got to go scoop them up and go do them. When it's not. It
takes time and money and to be able to get out there to go do it though too.
Right, and I've got a handful of breweries local to me that we're going to be doing collabs in. It's just finding time.
Nice.
The brewery up
the road
before? What's that?
Have you done a braggot before?
Personally, or just as collabs?
Commercially, has Unpossible done a braggot yet?
As a collaboration, so you cannot have malt in a meadery or a winery.
Which is TTB standard, a national standard, not a state thing, as I understand it.
Correct. So I'm set up as a winery. I don't have a brewery license in the state of Illinois. If you have more than one license, you cannot self-distro. So if I was a winery and a brewery or a winery and a distillery, I would have to get a distributor to distribute all my products. So
ooh, that sucks.
It's one of those things that falls back to the distributors, and that's kind of something the Craft Brewers Guild is working on, and that's what they're doing. So I'm worried about my mead legislation. That's something they're working on for the brewers, because there are a small handful of brewers that have distilling licenses as well. So that's kind of their deal. But as far as Unpossible making a braggot in-house, it won't happen since I don't have a brewery license. But
I guess I meant, was there going to be a collab between you and a brewery for a braggot in the future, since that's what you've been talking about?
So looking at doing a mango sour Berliner, and then looking at doing a Star Thistle Goza. That's due with the brewery up the road for me. It's old school Route 66 Brewing. I always screw their name up. But yeah, they're like 20 minutes away. Who else? There's another one we're looking at doing a wheat wine with sweet clover. So kind of excited to do that one because I like wheat wines.
Just popping open a new bottle here of it's a session from a local brewery here called Scale and Feather. They have like a total Dungeons and Dragons theme.
I've heard of that.
It's a session that they did with a local tap house collab called the Night Owl. It's a blueberry coffee session.
Nice.
So I'm going to try that, see how that one turns out for us. So get a little bit even more lighthearted off of all this. My awesome TK and drinks questions here. So the important things in life we need to know. Toilet paper roll, forwards or backwards?
Forwards, because I have tin. The tin you see behind me, the bathrooms have it.
Yes.
And that actually made me pay attention to that. So it has to be forward, because if it's coming out backwards, it's going to run against the tin.
See, we have that same tin in my on our ceiling in my house here, and yeah, it's very clingy. Anything that gets near it just sticks right to it, builds up static electricity. All right.
Before that, I wouldn't have thought two. I wouldn't have given two shits literally about it. Like, oh, it's on there. Who cares? Now I pay attention to that.
That's funny. The reasons that people like John Obergard, I talked to him last week. He said he specifically doesn't pay attention. He lets chaos. He grabs the roll, doesn't even puts it on as blind as he can, and just let it go for chaos sake.
Nice.
Where do you stand on fruit on pizza? Pineapple on your pizza? Yes or no?
Drop dead. Gross.
Oh, drop dead gross.
No.
Oh, how about any of the like barbecue sauce or white sauce on your pizza?
White sauce, not a fan. Barbecue sauce is weird, but the local gas chain around here just revamped their it's Casey's Pizza. For anybody that's Midwestern, you'll know Casey's. It's they revamped their pizza menu, and they had a buffalo chicken pizza. They used hot sauce for the sauce.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Really good. And now you can't get it anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
They took it off their apps. I called the store, and they're like, yeah, we don't do that. It's like, okay, then I don't want your pizza.
Then I'm done with your pizza. Bye.
Like, it's good. Their pizza's good. Like, if like the hot and ready, you just grab a slice and get a Mountain Dew and keep moving. But my opinion,
For a full pie, not going to happen.
you need to eat full pie fast or have a bunch of people, because the pie is just, it doesn't age well.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's good hot, doesn't age well.
Gotcha. All right. Turn signals, blinkers, yes or no?
Always do it.
Yeah, it's something simple that saves lives. I'm out here in Arizona. We get a total cornucopia of people from around I'll say just around the country, around the world. We got a ton of people from Canada and a ton of snowbirds and stuff that fly in here. So there is very little turn signalage going on, be it freeways, be it surface streets. It doesn't matter. It's just people just come to a grinding halt for no reason sometimes.
Turn signals, use them, or get out of the fast lane.
And if you're not going to do at least this, the speed of the rest of the traffic, or get over to the right, man.
There's a reason it's called the passing lane.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, people from terrible drivers everywhere.
Use your blinkers, especially if you're an 18-wheeler.
Yeah, no matter where you're from. If you don't use your blinker, use your blinker. How about Girl Scout cookies? What's your favorite type? When you can buy one type of Girl Scout cookie, what are you getting?
None.
That's an interesting observation. Not a sweets fan?
Not a fan of Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, fair enough. Can't hold that against anybody. That's a lot of money you're saving right there, brother. I'll tell you what.
You can't save it if you don't spend it.
Well, I'm sure you're just spending your money elsewhere, right? On
popcorn. I like the Boy Scout popcorn.
Yes. Oh, former Boy Scout myself. Yes, I remember. Yeah, dude, popcorn was the business. I love all the different types. Man, get me away from some caramel corn, or I'm going to destroy every last trash can full of it.
Yeah, like Girl Scout cookies, like I've had them growing up, just not a fan. Like if I had to decide on one, I would say probably Thin Mints, but
just as a default.
Yeah, I guess as a default. I mean, I'm a chocolate whore, and you should hand me something that looks like chocolate and it has a mint flavor, I'm gonna scowl at you.
Oh, you're not a mint guy either, huh?
I'll do mint. Like, I like peppermint. It's like the spearmint, minty mint. Not a huge fan.
Gotcha. My wife's the same way. She's super skeptical of anything minty until she tries it first.
Sure, I'd side with her on that then.
So see what else we got here. Oh, are you a cat or a dog person?
I would say a dog person.
You guys have a dog, I believe. I've seen in some pictures, right?
Yes. We currently have a teacup Yorkie who is 12 years old. That's my wife's dog.
Oh, wow.
We don't get along. Well, my kid. My kid will reach down and feed him every morning, or her. Here you go, Bella. Have what I don't feel like eating, and have Dad be really. I'm not happy at either of us. But,
sounds like my kid's always trying to sneak stuff to the dog, knock stuff onto the floor for him. He knows where to go. He's like the vacuum cleaner over at the table, man.
Like when we got together, we had 3 dogs total. Like I had a pug, she had a Chihuahua, and the Yorkie, and we were just now down to the Yorkie. So we'll be dog free for a while whenever that happens.
Sure.
but we want dogs again. So it's just kind of want to be able to travel and not be like, who's going to watch the dog and all that. But definitely dog people. And
Yep.
nothing wrong with cats, just prefer dogs. I'll love on a cat, no big deal.
Ah, I'm an animal lover. I take that back. I don't like reptiles. Something about animals without eyebrows really messes with me. You can't tell what their motives are. But other than that, yeah, I'm a big animal fan.
The couple that helps me out, they have a reptile shop here in town, like a little mini reptile zoo, actually. It's
Oh,
pretty
that's
neat.
cool. Yeah, both my
Cold
kids
weather,
are.
if you're into that, so.
Oh, both my kids are into reptiles, spiders, snakes, anything they can get creepy, crawly, or comes in a cage. They want it, and I'm just. It's totally me. My wife loves all that stuff. Me, not so much. No caged animals, none of that crap in my house if I can help it.
Gotcha.
So wrapping up this, been taking up about an hour of your time now. I appreciate that. So now that you're out of the truck and you're back in doing at the meadery there as much as full time as you could be, or more than full time probably. What's coming down the pipeline that people can expect from Unpossible?
So right now I'm doing a couple contract brews, but once I get those out of the way and free up some tanks, we'll have batch 3, even though it'll be the second release of Love Apple. Just trying to gear back up for some of our forager series, kind of our core lineup, like the blackberry forager, strawberry forager. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do a raspberry forager. It's been something I wanted to do, but I haven't found raspberries that I like yet that I feel like would make a quality one. So, but the lemon blueberry is on track. That'll be coming out soon-ish once I make it. So I have a bunch of stuff in the tanks.
Awesome.
Or slated for the tanks. Right now I'm playing catch up, but I just started an Orange Blossom Traditional yesterday. It's going to be a triple barrel series. So the first barrel will be a 53-gallon Whiskey Acres barrel.
Woo!
Second barrel, if I get it, it'll be a 30-gallon bourbon barrel from Few. And then the last, or it'll go back and forth, depends. So I want to go Whiskey Acres, which is in DeKalb, Illinois, and then Few, which is in Evanston, and then Journeyman, which is just up, I think they're in Niles, Michigan. So I'll go from a 53 down to a 30, down to a 15, and then whatever doesn't go into the next barrel will get bottled, and some of it will get saved, and some of it will actually go out to be for sale in the meadery. So the goal is to have a nice little 4-bottle set at the end of this 2-year period once it's done fermenting and aging and all that.
That's awesome. I love to hear stuff like that. That's such a cool freaking business plan. I love the potential releases. Now, would those bottles be something that would be potentially available to consumers, or is that going to be something, say, for your club members?
That one will be available for consumers. The club stuff, I haven't even started my club stuff yet. Like, I've been slowly telling people about it, and my label guy let it out on me because I wasn't sure if I was moving the meter or not, and didn't really tell him my plan, so I had to announce the club, even though I'm nowhere near ready getting it going.
Oh, well, that's kind of unfortunate spot. I was going to say, was there any more spots open for that? But if you're not
it's totally open right now. I just haven't solicited. It'll be like a 2 to 3 week. Hey, it's coming on this date.
Gotcha.
Just pay attention to Instagram and Facebook.
But it's still time to get in on the ground floor before you. I mean, I think that would be the perfect time for people to get in there is before there's nothing
to
available.
get stuff fermenting first, so that way, because it'll be 3 meads a quarter, and then in doing that, if one of the meads kind of tanks, I got a backup one for a different quarter that I can grab and pull forward and move the releases around. So
nice.
every now and then, a mead doesn't always fall where you want it, or the flavor just isn't there, and you just kind of look at it and you're like, son of a bitch, and we're not doing this one, or we'll do it, but we'll only release it in the tap room and flavor it differently.
Gotcha.
It's going to be, the goal is one of the meads will be super sweet, like your dessert style mead that kind of the hype market kind of really likes. Then
big old berry bomb.
Those berry bombs, those darn berry bombs. And then just like a nice semi-sweet, kind of, it's on the sweeter side, but still a semi-sweet. And then there'll be a traditional every quarter, so they'll get a different traditional mead.
Oh, I love traditionals. That makes me super happy to hear that. I'm loving the single variety traditionals from everybody.
Yeah, so it's not something you see a lot of meaderies doing. And I had another meadery owner say, hey, I had mentioned I was just going to open up with like 7 or 8 different traditionals. And this owner was like, that's a great idea. I thought I was going to do that too. It turns out I just run at the berry crowd because that's everything that sells. So my thought with doing the club is have a traditional every quarter, because not everybody's going to try some of the traditional meads that I'll be putting out.
Yeah. And to me, it seems like a real shame, because I'm finding that some of these single variety traditionals are some of my favorites. Again, from not even just one particular place, just across the board, I'm tasting that the ability to have such a unique flavor profile from just the honey is so, it hurts my mead heart that people want to just step away from that, because it's not just full of, fruit cocktail, so to speak. You're missing out on so much potential
Right.
variety.
But it's that fruit cocktail / berry bomb that keeps the lights on. So that's what you got to do. And then you can start doing your pet projects.
Yeah. Oh, hey, man, unfortunately, I get it. It's, I'm dealing with the same thing. Do you want to carry just this flavor and this flavor because it's what you like personally, or do you want to carry the flavors that are going to sell because that's what sells? So,
right. And I've talked to a couple meaderies before they got open. I'm like, you going to do a traditional? They're like, it's like, you should have a traditional on, so that way when somebody comes in, you'd be like, this is a traditional.
right.
Whether it's the base of what you're making or just something that you're good at making a traditional. Pete on Modern Mead Makers, I don't want to butcher his last name. A lot of us know Pete on the forums, said if you can make a traditional and not screw it up, you can make anything. And I probably spent a year. I just spent a year while I was driving a truck over the road. I'd start meads on Saturday, Sunday. If I didn't go out till later in the day on Monday, I'd get those batches going, and then my wife would stay on top of them while I'm on the road, be like, hey, did you do the nutrient addition? And it took a while to coax her into doing it, so that way she didn't have any of them explode on the ceiling when you add nutrients to a jug. It's like putting Mentos in a Coke, so you don't want to do that. So
Right.
she was helping me out with that, and I mean, that was probably a 6-month project, just making a new mead about every 2 to 3 weeks and having her help me while I'm out on the road and come home, try it. Nope, this is a dumper. This didn't back sweeten well. This yeast sucks. Nope, my temperature control sucks. So that's just one of those things that I kind of worked out before opening commercially, was what yeast strains do I want to work with? What temperatures do I need to work at? Which yeasts are more forgiving? Which ones are less forgiving? When should you use them? So I kind of have a rotation of when I use yeast in a certain time of year in here.
Gotcha, man. It sounds like you're doing the best you can with, your equipment and your location, everything to produce the best quality product and not hose your customers with just swill.
No, and never will. Nothing bad will go out the door, at least not on purpose.
That's good quality control, man. I can't say anything bad against that. One final question for you.
Sure.
Savory Meads, and in a kind of a two-parter real quick, because you said you had spent some time with Golden Coast down there. They're the only ones I see online anyway, from the tons of different places I've looked through, that offer a sour mead. And I know sour beers right now, and you had mentioned a Berliner Weiss and stuff like that. Those things are like all the rage right now in the beer world.
Sure.
Do you see that transferring over to the mead world, like mead sours and stuff like that?
So mead sours are kind of hard because you don't have necessarily all the ingredients that your souring organisms are going to want in a mead, because honey is pretty much all sugar. So you're lacking certain things that your lacto and your PDO and all that are going to want to grab and turn sour. So I know they did a Brett fermented mead. It wasn't necessarily, and this was 5 years ago, so my brain remembers some of the flavors, but not all of them.
And a Brett, for those who don't know, is a wild yeast, right?
Yeah, Brettanomyces is a wild yeast. It can be a souring organism. I'm thinking, brain hurts. I know the other ones had like a mixed culture that they were using.
Right.
Not really nice. I had there's Carolyn Peepul. She did a white paper on something like this a couple years ago at the American Mead Makers. The mead, like when they had the Mazer Cup and AMMA line up the same week. She did a white paper and had all of us go in and try these different meads. and I bugged the hell out of her for one of the bottles. It tasted like a Moscato, and it was just a sweet clover. It was fermented with a non, and I'm kind of turning the subject here. It was a non-Saccharomyces yeast, so I actually found out where she got it and started using that yeast strain.
Okay.
And I put it against B Seasonal's Angico, which is an acacia blossom. And I didn't want to call it a sour mead, but I think it probably would have sold better if I had. It was just really tart. The pH on it was like 2.9 on it.
Holy cow.
It was delicious. I filtered it, and it made it more crushable, but I shouldn't have filtered it. I should have just left all the haze in there.
Yeah.
That was where a lot of the sourness was coming from, and that's actually on my docket to make again this summer, because I have a bunch of that honey just sitting around to do again. So I just have to have that yeast spun up and sent off to me.
That's awesome.
Is it a thing? It can be. I guess it just matters. You're probably gonna have to have a good fruit or something that will lend itself to sour with the honey itself.
So second part of that was, how about savory mead? So you have your love apple, while not super savory, certainly could potentially have a much more savory profile than a lot of other meads. And I know there's like John Opegard up there does a taco flavored one. I believe I saw online somewhere that Christopher over there at Four Fires was doing like a caramelized onion mead. I don't know if it's gonna be for sale or something, or he's just doing for like just an experiment type of thing or whatever. But like, I actually think the idea of a savory mead is kind of a unique to the brand, to the mead world thing. 'Cause like, I don't think I'd ever see a savory beer, certainly not a savory wine in that same regard.
Right. I've seen like pizza beers where they're like loaded up on all the seasonings and whatnot,
or like the pickle beers and stuff like that.
I hate pickles.
Yeah, me too.
When I talked to Carvin Wilson about this, I am adverse to bitter. Do not like bitter. Like, you hand me a hop bomb, I'm handing it right back to you. Not doing
Gotcha.
it. I can deal with some hops now, but when like take the IPAs to 10 years ago, I was like, nope, not drinking it. I would prefer a cider or a Miller Lite before I actually decided on what light lager I actually enjoy, even though I know that's a Pilsner.
Gotcha.
Where am I going with this? Basically, I'm a super taster, so there's some things I don't trust my palate, and I'm making alcohol, and I'm making sweet stuff and dry stuff, and I know what I like, but I also need to run over to my insurance agent around the corner and my accountant's down the block, and I've got a wide range of palates where I'm like, taste this, what do you think? And if at the insurance company I hit 3 out of the 4, I know I got it. And then they all love sweets at my accountants, so if I know I got all of them, then usually I got a home run. So
Gotcha.
Sweetness. So
what about so I guess what I'm saying is like, what more like a like a sweet potato mead or like not necessarily like Capsamel seem to be going more, like spiced berries and or something, or even like a spiced traditional, something like that.
Right.
Like a straight savory profile, not say like a lot of like just vegetable profiles, but
right.
Something more on that. Like I would love to see that, because the few that I've had, while not necessarily my favorite thing, are so unique. It in my head, I see that it's like an untapped market.
Right, and a lot of it's layering flavors. Like a sweet potato one, I've seen a meadery in Indiana do it, and I can't remember if I had it or not, or if I liked it or not. I can't remember. Like a sweet potato. Oh, I think they did like a sweet potato pie. So like the marshmallow and that
Sure.
would be interesting. But yeah, I mean, savory is one of those things that's you can either do well or crash and burn on.
Sure, and like it to me, it seems like it's something like the traditionals. There's not, I want to say not a lot of people doing them, but a lot of people that do them don't spend the majority of their time doing those things. So it hasn't been as well developed as like your heavy melomels and those things. There's a lot of predetermined recipes and a lot of really good starting and jumping off points for those things. It seems like it's a lot more still experimental world out there in the savory lands.
Would you consider maple to be like in the savory area?
It's certainly savory leaning. I would say it would be like the first steps going that way would be Acer Glens or maple meads and stuff like that. I'm talking more just straight up like, pick like a savory type of dish. You have all these like this one I was drinking from Birmingham where it had 3 different berries, a grape, and 2 herbs in it, something like that. If you could have something as opposed to like a sweet potato pie, say sweet potatoes with chili in it, and even yeah, maybe like some cilantro or something like that. I know there's people that get the soapy taste off the cilantro and whatnot, but I mean just more savory type of flavor profiles. And I don't know why. I guess the reason I always fall back to the sweet potato thing is because my wife keeps harassing me to find someone to make something with that profile in it. But anything in those things, like I know how here in Arizona we have a fruit vegetable thing called a jicama. It's like the texture of like a watercress almost, but it's like the size of a giant russet potato, and it just, when I go just through the supermarket and the produce stands and stuff, I see so many things that aren't being used. My brain just goes crazy with it. But you lend a good point to what you're talking about with those berry bombs and stuff like that. It's what sells, so people got to make what sells. I just for my own morbid curiosity want to see more of the savory type stuff.
And that's something I was thinking about over the winter. I'm like, what kind of savory stuff can I do? And I'm still blanking. So I'm a picky eater, so it kind of screws me on like, oh, well, this dish was so great like this. I could totally make it and be like, nope, I'm not sensitive, but just I'm bitter adverse, and there's a lot of vegetables I'd rather not eat if I could. So
True.
And then it goes back to knowing spice profiles, and I would say having the flavor Bible. It's nice and handy, so you can see what other flavors you can pair up together.
Yeah, or even like cocktail inspired mead flavors. I know I've seen some people with like mead hitos and meaderitas and like mead coladas and stuff like that. I think those are great things to do too. It's
my bass ended up with like a bourbon and a peach ring in it at a couple places, and they call it the Unpossible.
That sounds delicious! Holy cow!
I never got to have one. They did bullet bourbon and a peach ring, like the gummy peach ring.
Yeah. And then the basswood traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that
That was back when it was a semi-sweet. I don't know how it would do now with it being sweet. I'm sure it'd just be just as awesome. But
for sure.
Yeah, just cycling back around to savory. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that. But cocktail inspired. You're starting to see more of that, and then like the desserts.
Yes.
Like banana Fosters and other. I want to do a banana pudding one. That's kind of on my radar.
Yes, with the Nilla wafers and yes. Oh man, see, banana. That's a flavor you don't see a lot in the commercial world out there. I know there's a handful of people that I've seen, at least within the past year or so, but I don't see a lot of banana flavors out there.
I think just the brewers stay away from it because they're a mess to clean up, and I'm sure mead makers are probably in the same vein of just like, this is going to be a shit show to clean up. So
yeah, I've heard anything in the puree form, so to speak, is pretty much a disaster on the cleanup end.
Yeah, that's why whole fruit's nice, or juice concentrate. Puree is, I know Lost Claws, they had like it was a 50% loss or 60%, no, maybe it was a 40% loss on puree, but that's just a lot of product.
Yeah, that's a lot of volume to lose for as much money as you're putting into it, to lose that right off the bat, to not be able to sell. Holy crap.
Well, you just charge accordingly, I guess. And it was a good meet. Sure. I won Billy's contest that they were guessing. So,
dude, yeah, anything that people can do to make a delicious mead flavor, juice, concentrate, puree, fresh fruit, whole fruit, whatever we got to do, I don't care. I want to taste it all because it all provides a little bit different experience for that fruit flavor.
I'll get you a nice care package going here soon.
Oh.
I know I gotta come back. I was one of 2 meaderies that did or 3 meaderies, sorry. Lost Cause, myself, Unpossible, and I think it was Blackheath in Virginia. We were all doing meads aged on grape skins.
Okay.
So, Billy did, or Lost Cause did, they did a bunch of different white. So once they get done crushing the grapes, took the grape skins, aged a mead on it. I know Lost Cause, they did oak with it. I didn't do any oak on mine. And they had like 4 or 5 different varieties of grape skins. I just had one. Mine's so I took my basswood in the semi-sweet form, and then aged it on Savory Blanc grape skins from a winery that's about an hour south of here, of where I'm at. Turned out real nice. Doesn't taste anything like the basswood, and it's got a nice orange hue. So let me grab.
Is it highly now? Is it since it was aged on those grape skins, did it pick up a lot of tannic value from that?
Sure did. So you can see the color.
Oh yeah! Wow, it's
Good. So it's basically like an orange wine, if you will.
no kidding. Yeah, that's picked up a lot. I mean, go from like almost water white there to very golden hue color. Yeah, that's.
So here, we'll flip it around. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. And how long did that sit on those grape skins?
About 3.5 months.
And do you do that in like in one of the fermenter tanks, or did you throw that in a barrel?
I threw it in a 55-gallon blue barrel, locked the lid on it, and walked away from it, and checked it every now and then, and it turned out super nice. So it was like I think a 30-gallon yield, but I put 25 gallons of grape skins on it and just pushed it down into it and walked away.
Man, and is that something you had to go back and punch those grape skins down every once in a while?
I did it quite often. It was really annoying.
And
Well worth it.
are those stills or are those not been deep?
Yeah, they're stills. They're just it's corked.
Oh yeah, okay.
So.
Nice, man.
And then I haven't had the one, and I just got Billy's the other day. I haven't opened it yet. I'm looking forward to it. And then the guy out at Blackheath. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah, I haven't. I've seen them online and seen their stuff. They don't have a huge online presence and stuff like that.
I'm not cheap. You still see me?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I feel bad because this gentleman's super nice.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. We can edit around all this.
I forget I can cheat and check. Blackheath.
Right. So yeah, while you're looking at that, I definitely just popped open this night owl here from the Scale and Feathers here locally. They get a blueberry session mead with coffee from one of our local coffee roasters. I don't know if it's something that they had made for them specifically, but it is definitely intriguing.
Nice. Bill Cavender.
Bill Cavender.
Yep.
And so,
you forget who you're friends with on Facebook, business, like industry wise, and you see. I try to post on Instagram, the business page, and then just put stuff on my page so other people can see it that may not follow me.
gotcha.
Or they're local to me, and they just try not to annoy them too crazy. I don't try to post real crazy about the business. There's a fine point where it's promotion, and then it's just self-promotion where you're flooding someone's page. But
Yeah.
all of Facebook's algorithms, it's you either show up or you don't, it seems like anymore.
Yeah, Facebook changes their crap all the time. If you post something that's a link to somewhere, you get your the algorithm buries your posts. If you're not on there enough, they bury your post. If you're not playing their game, they're not doing you any favors by any stretch.
Yeah, it's annoying. Whatever.
Very much annoying.
That's why it's their platform and not my platform.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, brother. If it wasn't for this business, I think anymore, I'd probably be leaning towards getting rid of my social media.
I agree, and it's a time suck too. I mean,
oh yeah, going through liking videos, trying to follow certain people, hold up some sort of online presence, so to speak. You know, it's almost like a part-time job in and of itself.
It is, and I mean, that's how businesses find me. I had a business call me last week. They're like, "Who's your distributor?" I go, "You're talking to them." They're like, "This is Unpossible." I go, "Yeah, this is also the owner. I self-distribute." And they're like, "Oh, cool." So it's just a shop that I'd looked at one point in time.
Yeah.
Put them on a list to follow up with, or not follow up with, but approach, and they came to me first. So
nice.
Instagram,
I love that, man. I'm waiting for those days when I get people approaching me.
right? That'd be great. Yeah, Instagram's probably brought me 5 accounts. So, and then Facebook's probably brought me 1. So, just by having that presence.
Yeah, it makes the little bit of time that you do put into it seem worthwhile at that point.
It does.
Because now it's bringing you money.
Right, and I like that. I can just sit there and have somebody call me out of the middle of nowhere, and just get done doing dinner, and it's almost bath time, and someone's like, "Hey, I want to sell you labels." I'm like, "All right, what do you got? I'll give you 2 minutes," and then I go put my kid to bed, early shower. And so
that's what I love about being a business owner, is being able to have that type of freedom. Yeah, hey, I'm doing something right now. You got 2 minutes or go.
Because I was using one company out in Colorado to do my labels, to print them. trying another out, and quality's one thing, but price is another. Because at the end of the day, I want to keep my stuff affordable. I'm not trying to be the $75, $80, $100 guy on the shelf. My goal is I want to be able to walk in and be like, got $20 in my wallet. Can I get a 6-pack of cheap beer and a bottle of mead, or can I just get a bottle of mead and be good for the night?
Yep. I think that's the noble pursuit of the business, to be able to take it down from that, my term I'm using, highfalutin type of, people that think they're, I would say, better than everybody else, but there's certainly a from my own personal viewing and stuff, that people that want to keep mead, not, they want to keep it back, I say, from the mainstream to a certain degree.
Maybe a higher shelf, if you will.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely want to keep it up on the higher shelf, and that there's not really a place for it down, session meads and that type of stuff. If it's not on the top shelf, it's not worth it type of thing.
Right. And some people see it as a race to the bottom. And it's like, I'm not racing to the bottom. It's find a comfortable spot that, I can make a nice profit on the bottle and somebody can still afford it and enjoy it.
If you can sell a 6-pack or a 4-pack of cans for $12 or $13 and have it be a quality product, I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
Right. Just watching cans lately, they're probably never gonna. I won't say never. It's just not a right now thing. So
for you,
for me,
yeah.
I was wanting to go to cans. I've seen a couple meaderies do it, and they have quality product in them, and it's not. I don't have the capital to invest in a canning line right now, and I definitely don't want a hand can. I'd rather hand bottle than hand can.
But I guess what I'm saying, ultimately, what I mean is, just because something's not expensive and it's not, $80, $50, even $40 a bottle, it doesn't mean it's going to be a subpar product. There's plenty of meads out there that are under the $20 price range that are quality drinkable products. Absolutely.
Like my highest price one is $25 out the door with tax. So
right.
And it's a barrel aged. It's one of my favorites. I'm almost out of it. It's once you start getting closer, I feel like 25 is kind of the point where you start shutting people off for price, unless it's like, oh my God, amazing.
Casual consumers, you mean?
Yes. So for the casual, the people that like meads, they have the money and they have the wherewithal. They won't look at the price. They're just going to look at, hey, is this good or not? And then they'll take it.
Right.
And then they'll worry when they finally check out, which not say I don't like those customers. They help keep the lights on too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just staying approachable, like from a cost point, and also just still being quality.
Yeah, and I think I think that's a noble pursuit, to be able to produce a quality product across a variety of price points and be able to hit as many as broad of a customer base as possible, and to not try to exclude anybody just based on price tag.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
So I've taken up more than enough of your time today. I think we're at about an hour and a half in here. I think I hear my wife calling me for dinner, so I'm going to let you go here, my man. But I'm sure you got family, kids to get back to as well.
Dinner and bed here soon.
Yes, sir. So thank you for your time today, Mr. Brian. I don't know how to pronounce your name correctly, so I'll just say Galbreath.
Got it. You're good.
So check him out on Unpossible on Instagram, Unpossible Mead on Facebook. I don't know if you do the Twitter thing or not. No, Facebook, Instagram, Unpossible Mead. Hit him up on the Vino Shipper. He's got all his flavors that are available up there for sale in as many states as possible, permitting your state, accepting shipping. And so thanks for being here, my man. Appreciate it. And I will see you on the internet.
Absolutely.
Have a good evening, brother.
You too.